Well, it's a good evening from Watson's Bay in Lizard Island on the Great Barrier Reef. This is where Captain James Cook climbed a mountain to find a passage out of the Great Barrier Reef. So we've done that walk today. It was pretty horrendous. But in the meantime, Thursday night's our regular show. And of course, today co-host is naturally in the UK. And our guest is from Australia. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Andrena, and then I will start bringing up the content that Medyhne sent through today. All right.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, wherever you are in the world. And it's the 29th of May, so we've only got a couple of days left, and we're in June, would you believe? Anyway, today it's my great pleasure to have Medyhne Lebachen back. And we had you on the show 2 years ago. I can't believe it was 2 years. And so much has happened in that last 2 years, eh? It's like, oh my God, holy moly.
Well, that's 20 years feels, doesn't it?
Well, I'll say. Anyway, welcome back, and it's lovely to see you again.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Andrena and Jeff. I remember our last chat was really enjoyable, and it's wonderful to see you both again.
Yeah, and you've got so much to share because, like, you're a spiritual teacher, artist, a writer, singer, songwriter, and I remember last time you were doing something to do with a film. I can't remember what it was called now, but you were in the process of putting that film together. So anyway, without further ado, where would you like to start today? Because if you want, I know you were born in Australia, so if you want to give a brief little description of your life till now, and then we can go into all of these things in a nutshell.
Absolutely. Well, I was born in Victoria, in the state of Victoria in Australia, and I always loved temples, and I grew up in Templestowe, so that was a nice synchronicity. And I started off with a more academic background. I went to university, and fortunately I managed not to become too programmed by the system. Am I allowed to say that? I went to got a BA and a postgrad, and then I also thought that the avenue to happiness might be to be really fit, so I became an aerobics instructor, and I was really fit. But then I had a family, and I still felt something was missing, so I pursued meditation and a more spiritual path. I learned about healing, became a Reiki master, and did energy healing work. I don't like to say I'm a healer because it's a bit presumptuous, but I did healing work, and I have done that for many, many years. But more recently, I have also morphed into, just in the last 2 years, into really utilizing my creative gifts in the form of visual art, paintings, acrylics on canvas. Prior to that, I've done other creative things. As you mentioned, I've been an author with books. I did actually write a book just recently too, so I'm looking for publishers for that. So if anyone's interested, please contact me. It's quite challenging these days to get a publisher. But anyway, and then I also did songs. I've toured in country regional Victoria with original songs, and I've made some CDs, and we've had some videos done by a couple of film companies. So I did focus back a few years back on music and books, but now I'm more putting my energy into art because it feels aligned with who I am now. And I think when you're moving around, because I've been in a caravan, moving around to different places, you also are very impacted by the where you are, and it brings up different things in you. For me, the artwork was really inspired by being in a place in Queensland called Redcliffe, which funnily enough was where the Bee Gees grew up, and we know they've been very creatively inspired obviously with their music, but there's something about that place that made me want to paint. So when I got there, I just was painting non-stop, and I did a whole lot of artwork, and that has been really so fantastically enjoyable for me. I remember when I was younger, I always thought I'd love to be a painter, but I don't think I'd be able to do it. I don't think I'd be good enough. But now I'm just doing stuff and people seem to be enjoying it, and it's happy.
It's really colourful and vibrant, and I know we'll put Jeff will put some pictures up as we go along, but they're really colourful and vibrant. And because like I said 2 years ago, you hadn't really sort of touched on bringing all this out of yourself, had you?
No,
so it's
not
just
at all.
You just don't know what the next little thing is going to pop up that you're going to be doing.
That's so true. That's so true. And it feels to me like it's an extension of my soul expression, so when you're able to express yourself at a soul level, it's such a joy. So I'm really happy to be doing it. And it's been something that I never thought I'd be able to do. So yeah, very exciting.
Well, I know you wanted to touch on role as a light worker, and you wanted to share lots of things about that. So over to you, girl.
Okay, thanks, Andrena. Well, you're a light worker too, so you'll be able to relate to this. So I also have, because I have a Patreon community, and I have a light worker team that work with me. So when somebody requests a healing, I contact the light worker team of 10 people that do healing. Light workers do healing, and we do healing on these people that request it from the Patreon community. So light workers to me are very special people. Technically, the term light worker was first coined by the author and teacher Michael Murdad quite recently in the early 80s, and then later Doreen Virtue in 1997 released the book The Lightworker's Way. And I must say, even though I know she now renounces all her angelic work and her light worker work because she's a born-again Christian, I love that book. I really love The Lightworker's Way and got a lot out of it. And to me, it really did describe well what a light worker is. So the simplest way I think you can describe light workers are beings who have a really strong guidance to help other people. Often they're referred to as crystal babies, indigos, earth angels, star seeds, and they are often a beacon for light for the earth, and they're committed to humanity. My channel on YouTube is called Arise Humanity, because I have a very strong calling to help support in my own small way, to help support the evolution of humanity. And so that's very much a calling for light workers. They're often very kind and compassionate even from childhood days, often, caring not only about people, but animals and the environment. And they often are sensitive and empathic, and they feel, the anxiety and sadness of other people. Often light workers are drawn to professions that are very empathic, such as nursing, therapy, rehabilitation, healing, caregiving, veterinary services, research, teaching, those sorts of caring, nurturing roles. So basically, overall, a light worker, I would say, has an enormous guidance to help others, and they often are a beacon for Earth, and they're committed to serving humanity. So that's a good sort of overall definition of who they are. And there's light workers, there's many different manifestations of what a light worker does when they're in this earthly reality. So there's, spiritual guides and healers. There are psychics and seers or sages who get often prophecies and, future predictions and things like that. Then there's the ones that do grid working and gatekeeping. So while my partner's also a beautiful light worker, while we've been traveling around in our caravan, I feel that very much a higher role that we already chose prior to incarnating was to move around and bring light to different areas. And often it's not even us that choose to move on, but something will happen and then we'll have to move on somewhere else. It's funny because yeah, last time I talked to you, Andrena, I was on Russell Island and I thought we'll be here for a while. But then what happened? It was the funny little things that happened. We were cleaning around the garage area, and we said that there was an issue with the drawer or something. And then so they came in to look at it, and there were termites in the building. And then they said they'd have to spray this really toxic chemical to get rid of all the termites in the building. So then of course we had to move. So things like that happen, and so you sort of shunted out again and somewhere else. And you know, we are very much guided to go different places. And often I've noticed that with what I'm going to talk about soon with you is light workers in disaster areas, because we've often been around those as well recently, you know, floods, cyclones, different things. And again, holding the energy for a reason. I mean, where I am right now in Tari, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, we've only literally been here just 3 months, and we've just had the biggest, most record-breaking flooding of this area ever. And it's really, I know, it's like, and I've been in, oh my gosh, bushfires in Victoria with giant kangaroos jumping into my car as they're trying to escape. I've been in floods in Victoria. I've moved from, there was a big flood in Lismore a few years back, and we were just moved out of that region a few months prior to when that came in. Then we were in Russell Island, Redcliffe. Well, that area that we moved from just had this quite a big cyclone warning, all that whole area, and we just moved out of that sort of region here just at our, it was just actually before that happened, we moved here and then came here for this flood. Somebody said to me, she goes, oh, look, you know, where you go, you know, will be the next disaster. We'll make sure we don't move there.
Yeah. Let us know where you're going and we won't follow you. Yeah.
So, you know, I honestly think, you know, there is that higher service that we're doing by being in these places, like so many other light workers. I'm not saying, you know, that I'm unique or anything. There's so many of us doing it, but we'll chat about that more in a minute. So that's good work in gatekeeping. Then there's manifestors, also known as divine blueprint creators. So they're the ones that create new things on earth that are of the light. Then there's guides and messengers. There's transmuters. Transmuters are interesting because they transmute the energy. So it's like a frog, because frogs, you know, when they croak and they're low to the ground, they croak. What they're doing is they're transmitting low energies, and through their sound, they're transmuting them into the light. So that's their goal of their sound vibration and their croaking. Frogs are very powerful for that. So that's interesting. So light workers that are transmuters. Then there's light workers who are dreamers and travelers. And I think that also the dreamers can be, you know, the artists as well, you know, these people that create and also create visions of the new earth, of, you know, what we're wanting to manifest. And they're very special. And then there's adventurers and ascension guides as well. So and you know, there's probably many more categories too, but they're just some of the ones that came to mind. So the light workers have, you know, a really beautiful job of you know, holding the light, embodying the light in different various ways. They don't necessarily have to do anything. They can just hold their energy and be a presence and just be and bring their beautiful light to earth. And there were many light workers that have been called at this time because of the need of the hour, and for this transition that we're going through from, you know, 3D to 5D or into the golden age, the new earth. And I think that we really can honor and thank all the beautiful light workers around the world, because they've done an incredible job. And often when there is something that happens globally, it's the light workers that sort of ground the energy first. They bring it through their bodies and through their energy. They ground it, and then a bit later on, when it's more digestible, I guess, for the general population, it goes to the masses. So they often do that first, and it's a very important role, a very powerful role, and often very taxing. So, you know, we're sort of at the marathon phases of the last phases, I feel, of this transition that we're experiencing. And many light workers are sort of starting to feel a bit tired, a bit exhausted, you know, because they've been doing such an incredible job. So nurture, nurture, nurture is what I say to all the light workers out there. Just really do a lot of self-healing, self-help, self-nurturing. Really, you know, look after yourself like gold at the minute.
Yeah, and that's more important than anything, really, isn't it? Because, like you say, we're in the greatest time of history, and things are changing so fast. Like, you know, each month is like a week now. You know, a week goes by and it's July, and a week goes by. You know, everything's happening so fast, and we know more and more people are becoming aware or waking up, whatever you want to say. And realizing there's much more going on than they've been led to believe. And yeah, so it's, and I say to people, you know, it's like the mask thing, isn't it? You've got to put your own mask on first before, you know, you can't go in from a half empty pot. So it is more important that we're so grounded at this moment in time and here on the earth, because that's what we signed up for, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, when we talk about natural disasters and things that happen to people, it's often the processes of that where people really can, unfortunately, it's been a pattern for humanity, that it's a way, suffering or pain or challenge has been a way that people have opened their hearts, and they've sort of awakened, and they've come to a new level of evolution through that. I don't think it's necessary that we have to do it that way, but it has been a way that humanity has done it. And so, you know, around here, we see that when so many people are putting their hand up to help one another and to volunteer to help in the recovery, and that we've just it's just stopped the flooding, but now there's the whole recovery process of cleaning it. There's mud, thick silt mud everywhere, and you know, people have been really stepping up and showing their humanity in these beautiful ways, and it is sometimes these events that really bring that out in people. You know.
Yeah, it is the community spirit, isn't it? You know, people that haven't spoken to somebody down the road, and then next thing they're all mopping up and clearing up and helping each other. And I think that's the greatest gift out of it all, is community.
Yes, it does really bind people together, bring them together, and makes them realize what are the really important things. You know, to lose a house is, you know, awful, and you know, my heart goes out to the people that's happened to. But if you have your life, and this is a shot here, just literally down the road from where we're currently living. It's half a kilometre down the road. That was where the flooding started, and that was a road into town, and the rescue boats were all leaving from that spot there, going out to rescue people from their houses that were stranded on houses or stranded in houses. And many rescue boats went out from that spot, and that the rescue services were incredible. This was in the township of Tari, and you can see how the water has become so high, and so many of the shops were flooded, and yeah, it was just massive, the amount of water that came down. It was raining nonstop, really heavily for days and nights, and there was like no break. And they've never seen that level of water in this township or many of the other regions around here as well, from south of Newcastle right up to north of Coffs Harbour. And if anyone knows New South Wales, that's a huge region encompassing a lot of townships. And so, you know, it was affecting 50,000 people were isolated at some time, where they were surrounded by water and they couldn't, go anywhere, and including us at one point too, where we were. But we were up a hill, half a kilometre from the main flooding area.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you're just seeing more and more flooding going on. But there's all sorts, the planet is like rebirthing, and, so there's all sorts of rumbles and grumbles going on here, there, and everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And, the earthquakes and the fires and everything else, obviously, you can say that there's a level of, the deep state involved. And then I think for me, the good guys, the alliance, the white hats, whatever you call it, they work with it in ways they can to sort of work with the energies to move their agenda ahead, the positive agenda ahead. And then the Mother Earth is also releasing and clearing in the process, where she is sort of rebalancing herself. And so there's that going on as well.
Interesting times, eh?
Absolutely. And what I wanted to really share too about lightworkers is that they really hold a frequency during these types of disasters. Their energy, just by being there, really stabilizes the energy, because there's a lot of often fear and anxiety and even depression and things that come up. And the quote that just was shared here was shared to a light worker friend I know called Jane. And Jane told me that this healer she worked with tuned in to when she was at the Lismore floods and said to her, do you know what would have happened if you hadn't been there holding the energy? So it would have been a whole nother level again without the light workers there, really holding the space for the light and helping to sort of stabilize the emotional bodies of the people that are around going through that maybe haven't got the same spiritual core to hold that space. Not saying anyone's better than anyone else, because it's all a process of evolution, but they have such an important role, the light workers, in these things. And Cryon also said a well-known quote that lighthouses aren't built in safe places. So I wanted to share that as well. And for us, it's like, I'll go, here we go again. something. But I think that I committed to it prior to incarnating. You have a divine service. You're here for divine service in different ways, and that's just one of the things that we are doing. And I remember when I was 18, and I used to say, I really want to help the world. Come on, give me something important to do that can make a difference. Oh my God, the last 4 years it's just been one thing after the other. But I'm happy that I've been able to contribute. But it's funny. I remember asking when I was 18, now what can I do to help humanity? And so it's like bang, 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 bang. It's one thing after the other.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, I'm sure so many light workers or, people that are doing that role can relate to that right now.
Yeah, and you say, I didn't sign up for this. I know I wouldn't have signed up for this, but you did.
Can I renegotiate my contract?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, too late now. Yeah. So, carry on. So where would you like to carry on from this? Because I meant talking about the floods. I can remember in where have we just been? Where Sea Lotus lived, didn't she? Where was that? You mentioned. No. Lismore, yeah. I mean, that was horrendous down there. And I can remember Sequoia and her team were going down with capes and taking down all sorts, and it's just, watching from this side of the world. And because I've obviously been in Australia for 10 years, so I can relate when people say so, oh yeah, I've been there, or and it's like seeing all the flooding and and it's just like the floodgates open, and whew, good.
Yeah, it's huge. It's massive. And it's sort of like, I'm pretty tuned in, but I didn't realize how quickly it would all come down, or the rain and the levels of the water, how quickly they would go up. It just, you aren't quite prepared energetically for how quickly it all does happen.
No.
I do always have faith and trust that I'm protected, and I was very blessed that I was out of the flood zone. But yeah, I think it's just such an unexpected thing when it does happen sometimes, because the speed, at which it happens.
Yeah, because it does, everything happens so fast, and things are happening faster now more than ever before. Like, things are really ramping up, and it's like, I say, well, I don't know where the stop button is because I can't get off.
That's it. That's it. It's just like you have to, in a sense, surrender and let go of your egoic self, and just trust that there is a higher divine plan, and have faith in that. Because to me, humanity will, or the majority of humanity will ascend and will do well, and we're going to evolve, and it's going to be a beautiful world that we're going into. But this process that we're going through, the chaos, the disturbance, the deconstruction of the world is such a massive process, and it's also based on the collective consciousness. So where the collective consciousness holds the energy determines the speed and the rate at which it's going. And so, we can't really foresee exactly how that's going to pan out. And it's just, I guess, trusting that it will all be in divine alignment, and that we just have to have faith in that process. And I know in a deep inner level that, we're going to be going to a beautiful place, humanity, and that it's going to be incredible. We're going to be living in a new earth where we're going to all experience levels of joy and harmony and peace and love that we've never even probably imagined. But this process of getting there is what we have to go through, to get there.
Yeah, and it's giving each other encouragement to keep going, because some days you're not with different energies and different things, and it's like, oh God, but we've got a good support network of friends, all around the planet, that you can always put out help or say, I need some help, I can't do this anymore, blah blah blah.
And I think not being hard on yourself, cutting yourself some slack. There'll be days you feel like that, and if so, just like stay in bed and eat ice cream and watch a movie. I don't know, just give yourself a break, and just honor, I think, the emotional body too, because all these emotions can come up, and they're like waves, and if you honor them and allow them to come up and go through that, they'll pass, and then they'll move on. But it's just like honoring them as they come up, and not judging them, saying, oh look, I'm hopeless, I'm feeling this today, and I should be more positive, and let go of all that, and just be in the
just
flow.
be with what is,
yeah, totally. I think that's really important.
Right, are we going to start on your art? Because I know is that in the queue here? Because I know you've done, like, the last couple of years when you were on the show last, the art hadn't really come into the picture, and then I've seen all these amazing colorful art pictures, like really, really different. So would you like to share how that came about?
Oh, thank you, Andrena. Well, it was really funny, actually. Again, you never know what's going to come up. I was in Russell Island. I just did one painting in like a long time. It was like 15 months I did one painting. But then I moved to Redcliffe, and the energy was very different there. And I felt like it was aligned with my energy, and it was really creative, the energy there for me, it felt. And there's a lot of light there. And I moved there, and I just thought, oh my God, I've got to start painting. So I just got out the paint brushes and the paints, started painting. I did about 20 paintings in I think it was about 10 months, and just painting. And I got commissions from overseas, which was really wonderful. And some commissions here as well in Australia. And shout out to, you know, all the lovely people that bought my paintings. And I did original commissions, but also prints. So some of the paintings were sent to people as prints as well.
They're
And
really vibrant, aren't they? They're you
thank
know,
you. The
no,
funny
they're
one
really
was,
in your face, but in a colourful, vibrant way. You can just see the, you know, in the, you know, like in the eyes, and yeah, it's just lovely. It's really different.
oh, thank you, thank you. I love color, and I love. I also put with the paintings frequency, essential oils like joy, things in the paintings too, which affects, I think, their frequency. But this one was a commission for the UK, and it was huge. As you can see, I'm only small in the corner, but it was absolutely huge. It took quite a while, that one, to do. But yeah, I get like a request of, they say, I want this and this in it. This one, they wanted at least one dog and one cat.
Right.
So and then when I did send it to them, they said that dog was exactly the dog that they'd wanted in it, but I didn't know
Really?
that. Yes, and so that was really beautiful, and it just seemed to really resonate with them. So I was sort of, I guess, tuning into the energy and then come up with that. And yeah, that was so much fun to do, but it was a massive canvas.
Yeah, because you've got some displayed in galleries as well, haven't you now?
Yes, well, actually, oh, funnily enough, I mean, not funny really, but this one, yes, he's hungry, and the butterfly's not impressed. But the funny thing is that, I mean, there's a beautiful gallery in Nabiac, a town that was not touched by the floods. The gallery is called Muse, and they've got some of my paintings, which is wonderful. But there's another gallery in Taree, and I just had an opening for this exhibition with the other artists there. It wasn't that long, as about beginning of May, I think, and so and then it just went underwater with the flooding. So she had to give everyone back their artwork. She managed to save it, which was incredible, actually, because
Wow.
the floods came so high. And yeah, her gallery was underwater, sadly, and she did an amazing job saving people's artwork, all the artists' artwork, which was but we had a beautiful opening. It was really fun, and yeah, I hope she's able to you know, bring it back to how she wants it again.
That's cute.
So I do some animals that are like ones for I guess children love some of the basic animal ones as well, but they appeal, I guess, to the inner child in adults too.
Yeah.
And there's three different categories. There's mystical, magical, which sounds like the new Benson Boone song, which is called Mystical Magical, but that was my category before I came out with that song. And then there's the whimsical, animal whimsy, so all the animals as well. And then there's the category of radiant designs, which are more design work. And yeah, and that was an article that came out a few weeks ago, just when Nadia opened her gallery. So it was lovely to have that in the paper. So yeah.
Well, credit to you. It's fabulous. You know, I mean, there's acknowledging what you're doing, you know, because I know you do so much on so many levels, but it's like another gift you brought to the world through your color and art and the frequency.
Oh, that's lovely, Andrena. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Oh, well, you know, it's a gift for me. And I think that if we can, light workers can be in their joy, their highest frequency, that's a huge part of what we need to do right now, is just to hold as high a frequency as we can, and you know, doing the thing that we love the most and that brings us the greatest joy is a great way to, you know, get there.
Yeah. So where do you think you're going with your art now? Have you got much more ideas coming through that you want to paint, or
Well, my latest one was a little bit different. It was ballerinas. I don't know if you got the ballerinas there, but it was a ballerina one. So they do change a little bit, depending on what I feel like drawing at the time. Because the fairy one with the reindeer, it was really interesting because when I painted that, and again, that was a huge canvas. Straight after that, I met the girl, and I've got a video in that on my channel where I'm actually talking to her, and she looks exactly like that. She had the yellow and the sort of maroon in her hair. She was wearing a purple dress when I met her, and just like that, but it didn't have the orange bits in it, but it was purple. And she's a tiny little thing, and she's got a little tiny nose and the big eyes, and she just looked exactly like that. And she said to me, "I'm a fairy." So straight away I thought, oh, that's so interesting. And then after that, I showed her the picture, and she says, "I can't believe it." I said, "What?" And she said, "My favorite thing is reindeer." She's got a giant painting of a reindeer in her bedroom. So the connection between her and the reindeer was in the painting before I met her as well. So and she felt like that was her, and it was before I'd actually even met her. So that was really interesting. So yeah, I never know what I'm going to paint. It can be inspired by anything.
Yeah, because I got a friend Yvonne, and she's travelled from Adelaide all the way up to top of North, and she, like you, she just paints and paints, and she says, "Oh, I just this one today, and I've just done that one," and it's just amazing how people have got different talents, and all of a sudden they're pouring out this or bringing this through. It's just like amazing. When I see what different people are doing, I think, wow, there's so much talent out there in so many different ways. It's just like
I think it was really suppressed, in the sort of world that we've been living in, because people were just trying to survive, doing 9-to-5 jobs to survive, and they couldn't really express a lot of the time these amazing sort of gifts and talents that they've had. But as we go into the new world, we'll be able to focus on these gifts and just bring them out without having to be focused on earning a living to survive. And so just imagine then the incredible renaissance, and it literally will be like a renaissance of people being able to bring all their beautiful things that they love so much and their dreams into the world. I think it's going to be so inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we signed up for this, eh?
Yeah, that's it.
I can say it on a good day.
Yeah, well, we're only human, as I say, but not really, because we're divine too.
Sort of. Yeah.
But that's like that saying when people say, they go, "Oh, you only live once," and I then, no, you don't. You don't just live once. But these funny sayings that we have. But yeah, no, I think that the Renaissance was incredible for the level of art and music and everything that came out of that time. And it could be just like that, what we're going into with the golden age, where we have a whole new level of everything, music and everything. And I feel like I would be inspired then to do more high frequency music, and just not like pop songs or things that have happened in the past, but just a whole new level of sort of sound. And my partner's an incredible guitarist, so being able to utilize these new energies and new sounds in ways that we haven't heard before, that really inspires me. I'd love to do something like that.
Well, watch his space, eh?
Yes.
So
well, what do you think you might do as you go forward, Andrena? I know you're very focused on health and wellness.
Oh yeah, definitely. Great. Because I deleted the aging program, and I'm going the other way. I'm not having an aged birthday every year. I'm not playing that game anymore.
Oh, that's a good idea. Not attaching to that number.
No, it's attaching to, well, I'm going to be this next year, and I'm going to be that. And I think, no, I'm going that way.
That's great. Yeah. That's you thing, isn't it? You thing. That you think.
Yeah, and I mean, like in the last couple of years, I've been through a huge, I was in an accident, shunted backwards and forwards, could barely walk, and and all sorts of things. And then Sequoia got me on the drops, and that helped immensely because I couldn't sleep. I had to lift my leg over at night because, you know, it affected my hip, all of these things. So it took me a while to get over that. And then I've had a couple of falls, some that just came out of the blue when I was in Ireland. So that was anyway. So yeah, so I've been dealing with lots of different things, and I've been going around to holding, you know, doing the light grids on the land in different places. So like when we were in Dublin, we went to Newgrange and Tara and all sorts of places, and it was lovely. I really enjoyed it over there, but at the time I was really unwell. And but anyway, yeah, so working through different things, different layers, and I've been taking different things. I am feeling so much better than I have done in such a long time. So
oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And I think that's a great point too to make, that, you know, we are, all of us, going through so many things are coming up that, you know, things that in the past we were able to sort of push down or suppress, or maybe we weren't even aware of them, but then they're all coming up in spades at the minute, like so much, anything that's unhealed, any old wounds, it's all coming up, and you can't avoid it. It's there now to be addressed. And you know, for myself, a few days ago, I had a bit of like sciatica down my side of my side, and so I had to deal with that. So then, you know, I get straight onto my healing things. I've got my Healy quantum frequency device, which is incredible. I've got drops. I've got light wave patches. You know,
you name it, we got it.
Yeah, all the things that we use, you know, and you just have to get on top of it and do all that, and it will come and it will pass. But yeah, you've just got to be really proactive, I think, at the minute as things come up, and it's the same for everyone. You know, nobody's immune to that.
Yeah, that was just my little experience. And I mean, Egypt was the biggest experience I've experienced in a long time. And, you know, 1 minute I'm climbing up the King's Chamber, going up these little tunnels and steps, and, you know, thinking, oh my God, am I going to get up there? But anyway, I did. And then the next thing, it was just like I went, you know, yeah. So anyway,
I think that's also the energies there, because the energies are so powerful in Egypt.
Oh, I'll say, yeah. But yeah, I love the experience, and but yeah, different world altogether. But I think, God, did I really need that experience? Obviously I did.
Sure, I hear you. Yeah, I was in Egypt. I got really sick for a few days in Egypt too, in the stomach, but I remember it was just fascinating, all sorts of weird anomalies. Like I was on a bike and I was cycling uphill, but I was going downhill. Like the wheels were, you know, we're going faster, but it was just all this weird stuff, you know. It was like some portal or something, I don't know. But you know, it was before I was really quite a few years ago, before I was really into all the spiritual things that I am aware of now. But I just found there was some really unusual energies there that you couldn't explain.
It's all a journey and not a guided tour. And sometimes I think it'd be nice to go on a guided tour for a change.
Yes. Oh, well, it's never boring. I'll say that much.
Well, you can say that again, correct? You don't get time to be bored. It's like, you know, I think it's like being at the ocean. You stand there and you take a deep breath in, and then all of a sudden a wave comes in and you're, and then you have to sort of calm yourself down, and then in comes the next wave of something like, exactly. But you know, it's life. So and I'm very much guided to where, you know, I just suddenly keep getting, I think I need to go here, I need to go here, and then I go there, and then I think mission completed. Because it's funny, because where I live there's a barn and it's a beautiful space for people doing workshops and things, and there was a medium here a couple of weeks, and I actually was home so I could go to the event. So she said to me, Knowlton Church, and I said, oh yeah, I've been there. So it's a sacred site. Well, at the same time, my sister and her friend they wanted to go to Knowlton Church. And she said, well, that's so funny because Andrena had a message. And I said, well, I don't know why she brought that in. But anyway, we went there on, what's today, Thursday? Tuesday, we went and doing our bits. So we went with singing bowls and what have you. So, and it was funny that I had no idea I was going to be going to Knowlton Church, and to get that in a message, I just sort of didn't give it any energy. But then next thing they said, oh, so funny, we want to go to Knowlton Church and you've had it in your, you know, so it's the little things that happen.
Oh, absolutely. That flow. I love that. It's like a synchronistic thing that happens. We were in Nanango, a little town in Queensland, and then they had what do you call it? A coal factory there, like a coal factory that was emanating like all this dust. It was going everywhere, and we thought, oh, we can't stay here any longer because there was dust going into the air. So we had to move, and then we thought, oh, where are we going to go? And it could be anywhere, you know, in Australia pretty much, but we were guided of all places to go out of the state to another state, New South Wales, and come to Taree. But so we rang up a caravan park, and I said, oh, look, you know, do you have any spots here? And we started chatting to the lady, and she said, oh, we're looking actually for some caretakers. Are you interested? And I said, yeah, sure. So I ended up coming here to be a caretaker at the park for a few days a week. And this is literally, you know, where I came to 3 months before this massive, massive flood. So it's like I was placed here, guided here, and placed here.
Anchored your light there.
Yeah. It was like out of my hands in a sense. It just all, you know, it all just came together, and like they only had like literally one spot for us or something when we came, so there was, you know, not much leeway. And that's how life is. Like you just are in this continual flow, divine flow that will guide you. When you release attachment and you allow yourself to be, you know, in that flow, I think you need to be at a certain frequency in order to be able to, it's like a wave, to catch the wave as it takes you where you're meant to go. And then all these synchronistic events will happen that confirm that you're on the right path. And that's often, for example, seeing numbers like 222, 111, or whatever your number is, repeated all the time, or, you know, those synchronistic type things that show that you're on the right track.
Yeah, and there's so many little things, and it's sort of being aware of the signposts, if you like, or the little signs, you know.
Yes.
It's like you might go off on a journey and you're planning to go there, but somehow the road's blocked or whatever, and you go there, and it's accepting that's the road you're meant to be on, even though you think you're going one way.
Isn't that life?
Your guiding light is sending you another way.
That describes life in a nutshell, doesn't it? Because like you have all these visions in a sense of what you wanted your life to be or look like or create, but often it goes in all these other directions that you haven't anticipated, because that's the divine path, a higher path, or the path that you've contracted to before, prior to incarnating. And it could be very different from your own vision for yourself of what you want to create. And I know my life's been like that. I've sort of thought at one stage I'm going to do this, and then gone totally in another direction. And that's happened a lot. So yeah, that's the flow, isn't it?
And it's not beating yourself up about it. It's not, you know, going, oh God, I should be there. What am I doing up here? It's just having acceptance that where you are is you know, because I can remember a friend saying, well, where you are is where you are. There ain't anywhere else, is there? End of story.
That's right. Everything is divinely perfect, even though it may not seem it at the time, but you don't have that, you know, 2020 vision of exactly everything that's going on as you would perhaps if you're
and it's like you think, God, is this for real? How did I create this? You know, what's going on? And it's not always looking at the you know, like if you've got shoulder ache, you can look, well, it's on the feminine side or the masculine side, and it relates to this and this, but it's not always about that, is it? You know, you can go on forever looking for a reason why you've got a pain, you know, in your shoulder or something, whereas, you know, apart from wear and tear and what have you, but it's not always giving it a focus, which is easy to say sometimes, I got to be honest.
sometimes it's in retrospect too that you can
Yes.
sort of see why things have happened, but at the time you don't have any idea.
Yeah.
And it's the most challenging things that we go through, which are the biggest learning experiences often, or the most difficult people we come across that are our
Yeah,
greatest teachers
yeah,
as
the
well.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's when you can. I mean, it's, you know, like, so obviously I being so ill in Egypt and coming back and what have you, and they wanted to keep me in, and I thought, there's no way you're keeping me in a hospital. I'll never come out again, and you don't know what they put in you. So sorry. Anyway,
Yeah.
I forgot where I'm going with this, but yeah, it's yeah.
So
I mean, it's
you're
easy
able
to
to
deal
stay on a
with.
natural path with all that, Andrena? You're able to
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
with
Oh, totally. You know, I've had before, well, months ago, I'd had an invite to have a flu injection, a COVID injection, a COVID booster, a shingles, and there was something for the lungs they're giving you now, so I could have 5. And I thought, I'm not even having blooming one, you know, not anyway. Without going into all it's not my way. And I just say to people, for God's sake, read up on it, do your research, you know. And you know, you're just seeing so much more, especially little ones. And I think to people, you don't need to put all this stuff into your bodies. You know, your body can cope with it if you let it. But
our bodies
you know,
are amazing systems, and that they know what to do themselves. And we've lost the trust in them to be able to heal themselves as well. It's there's such advanced intelligent systems, biospheres within themselves, and we've outsourced that to other profit making things that are not having our highest interest at heart. And that's an understatement, but I'll say it nicely. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So what other things would you like to share, or words of wisdom would you like to bring through today?
Oh, well, thank you, Andrena. I think it's really important to share that as I guess a light worker, I really see that there's some amazing positive things that are happening on the planet. You know, there's a lot of negative stuff out there, fear porn, whatever, and I think some of that is the desperation of the dark who are going down, and they're retaliating and putting this out because they don't have a lot of power plays left because they're on their way out. But I think it's really important to focus on the positive things that I mean, because there are some really incredible positive things that are happening. For example, Reuters, the major media outlet, has started saying that Klaus Schwab, I think it is someone who is potentially corrupt and has created fraud and different things like this. Now, if that wasn't something that was happening, then it could be that the mainstream media was still controlled by the dark. But there's these new things that are happening that are showing that the power balance is changing, it's being restructured, and that the light is becoming more and more in charge of the overall trajectory of humanity. So I think it's incredibly positive, a lot of the things that are out there. And just be careful, what you're putting your focus and your energy on, your intention, because what you put your energy on is going to expand, get bigger. And so if you focus on the really good things that are happening, that's going to expand. And I think we need to be very conscious and intentional with how we use our energy. And that goes for us on a personal level in our lives with, what we watch, who we talk to, all those things. And then also, with information that's coming out on social media, and what we put our energy into in terms of, we have a finite amount of energy that we have, here on this realm. And so where are we putting our energy? What's important to us at the moment? For someone it might be self-nurturing at the moment, and that's a great thing too. But that's really important.
Totally. What was I going to ask you then? Oh yeah, poems. Were you able to get that poem, Jeff, and play it that Medyhne had done?
Be an anchor of light. Be an anchor of light in these times that you tread. Be solid as stone in all things that you said. Have roots like a tree if some plummet in fear, though some may deny and choose not to hear. Be an anchor of light when the walls fall around. Be stillness of peace through the screaming of sound. Stay centered and sure in the inner domain, though madness may show, be the tangible sane. If shadows come calling, know you can stand true. In thoughts, words, and actions your soul shines as you. Nothing can hinder its powerful force, though life may serve to push it off course. Others who quiver may seek a firm shore, and you will be harbour for yourself and more. The test of the spirit, a spiritual quest, where body can falter but spirit knows best. The earthly illusion appears ever real, and every emotion demanding to feel. But soul as an anchor can ground any storm, and spirit as matter can always change form. Ferocious and howling the wind rustles through, to push the boundaries of evolving you. And if a strong anchor in your grounded sea, for many you will hold sanctuary. Your spiritual team are always in sight, in the darkest of day and the darkest of night. Your soul wants to feel awake and alive, and God shines upon you the deeper the dive. So lose not your anchor, your dear treasured soul, and know that this journey is making you whole. Confounding appearances often seem right, like losing your path while stumbling at night. Drop then your anchor and be still in trust, for ego is useless and faith is a must. Abide in the house of the spiritual core, where higher connection is shelter and more. Be an anchor of light in soul's every breath, in the birthing of life, the completion of death. The voyage, though sprinkled with wild rain, is the reason you're here and the reason you came. Medyhne Lebachen.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing. So have you put many to music like that?
Not so many poems. I do have my original book that was published. I have 10, a CD of 10 poems that go with the book, Hilhairyass poems, and
Right.
they're all different poems about aspects of life, fun for kids, but also for adults too. So I have done a few, but yeah, more music, I would say.
So do you think now like you mentioned about the music, do you think that's where you're going now, more into the music as your next at this moment in time?
I think that'll happen when the shift happens. Like, when we go into the 5D, I feel that might be something I'm doing then.
Yeah.
Until then, I think I'll be focusing more on art, and trying to, just express whatever's coming up in the now. That feels right at the minute, but who knows for sure, because it can always change.
Yeah, anything's possible.
That's it. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, it's been an absolute delight. So is there any words of wisdom or anything you'd like to finish with today?
Well, just to anyone that's listening, that's going through a hard time, it feels for some people that we're at the end of this marathon, like it's it's been going on for quite a long time for a lot of people who've been awakened for a long time, and they're sort of thinking, oh, is the light at the end of the tunnel? But I do feel like it's not far somehow. You know, there's a sense that we don't have to go too much longer before some big shifts will happen for the better. And at the same time, it's good to let go of attachment to an actual timeline of when these things happen, because then if they don't happen when you want, you're going to be frustrated or disappointed. But I think that if we can just trust that it's all happening as it's meant to. You know, so many of the people, spiritual teachers that are speaking at the moment are saying, you know, we have got this, you know, the light have got this, humanity have got this, we've won, we've done it. And it's incredibly exciting, really. And we've gone so far to get here, and we've just got that little bit further to go. So hang in there, and we can you know, do this together and just sort of like support one another through this last final phase that, you know, we're just close. I really do feel that. Do you feel that too, Andrena?
Oh, totally. And it's like, you know, I say we're in the holding bay, like we're just ready to be let out.
That's it.
Like,
let's go, bring it on.
You know, so so many changes and different things are happening, and you know, and a lot of people won't see them as positive, you know, but this is all part of a divine plan, isn't it, to clear away all the dark and what have you, and bring more light and light through. And as more people are anchoring the light and going and shifting and caring, you know, it's happening a lot faster, I think, than we realized. But you know, once we're unstoppable now, aren't we?
That's true. And you know, the other point too I want to make with that is that if souls choose to be here, that's their highest soul divine choice. If they choose to leave and go somewhere else, again, that's their soul choice. They've made that choice. And we need to honor all souls' choices, because some choices that souls make are perhaps not ones we would make for them, or ones that we want for ourselves. Because, you know, if we have a soul that we're close to and they choose to go in a different direction, obviously we feel that loss. But, you know, every soul is choosing their path, and there's no accidents, and it's all divinely aligned, and we have to trust that too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your sharing today. It's been an absolute delight to see you again, and loved your sharing and your artwork, and look forward to talking with you another time. So thank you once again. You've been an absolute delight.
Oh, thank you, Andrena, and thank you, Jeffrey, as well. It's been so beautiful to thank you. So beautiful to connect with you, and I look forward to chatting again later on. And who knows what will be happening that time?
Oh, exactly. Hello. Watch your space, eh? Well, I know one thing that come up. Carol put, it's better to be a light worker than a fright worker. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So anyway, so thank you everybody for tuning in this week, and same time, same place next week.
Okay.